Life Xpression Podcast, where we express our Christian life. And with me today is
Precious.
Before I go to the topic for this episode, we have a very, very huge star in the building. Some of you know her as Obi. Some of you know her as Francis from our recent and from our past movies. She's an artist, she's an actor, she's all in one. She's good at what she does. Let me just show you. I know people are already salivating to see the person I'm talking about. So we have Ruby in the studio today. Ruby, say hi.
Hi, Praise. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So our topic for today's episode is spirituality, secular, and carnality. That's a very, very important topic that we Christians and everybody need to have. So, um, as you all know, this is a Christian podcast, and we'll obviously always take our cue and our examples and some things from the Bible. And our cue for today from the Bible is in Philippians chapter 4, verse 8. Philippians chapter 4, verse 8. I'll go to our main guest. What do you understand by spirituality? In your own word, just say one or two things about spirituality.
I believe spirituality is about being in connection to whatever belief that you have, being in connection to a high spirit. For us as Christians, is like being in connection with God. Yeah, and yeah, basically.
Okay, Precious, what do you understand by secular?
I would say that anything that falls under secularism is something that is not attached to a faith or to religious beliefs, is the regular day-to-day activity of human life.
Okay, very, very interesting. It does not, it's just our regular day-to-day activity, normal daily life. So, Ruby,
Well, I believe you both said it all practically. And yeah, secular is anything that is not faith based, it's not attached to any religion, it's not sacred per se. Yes, that's what I think.
so I want to put this out there for you guys watching and you guys that might not understand really what secular carnality and spirituality is. Secular is not the opposite of spirituality. Carnality is the opposite of spirituality. So we'll be talking about how Christians should be able to express their spirituality in this secular life that we live in, because we all know our day-to-day in life, as everyone here has said, is secular. So my first question for Ruby today is, how can an individual navigate the tension between your spiritual beliefs and the secular world in your everyday life?
To be honest, I will use myself as an example. And because of course I cannot really speak for anyone else but myself. How I navigate spirituality and secular,
Yeah, how you
it,
navigate the
yeah,
tension.
the tension between the both is I try to draw a line.
Okay.
Yeah, I draw a line between what is acceptable
Yeah.
and what's not acceptable.
Yeah.
Because of course, te- acting tends to get into the secular space sometimes, where you're
Exactly.
not only just talking about like faith, God,
Yeah.
Christianity, our religion. So it's like, what is the boundary that you have set
Yeah.
for yourself?
Setting
Because
boundaries.
trust me, there's going to always be that tension as a believer that, oh, okay, for example, you've just finished on a film set and they say, oh, let's have a rap party and just, enjoy ourselves and wind down from the stressful production. And then you see people smoking, doing all manner of things, but then it's like you're at a party. It doesn't mean that because you're at this secular party and as a believer you should now join them and do all these things that are not your beliefs, like they don't
Carnal.
that are carnal. So these things that don't match your values. So there's always going to be that tension, because you won't say, oh, because I know people are going to be smoking there, I'll not go for the rap party, because you deserve that rap party as well, because you've worked very hard for that production. So you deserve to unwind and chill with your friends. But for you to know that, okay, if I mean, like, temptation is not even the Bible tells us to run, flee. So it's like, but it's not always going to be very easy to say, oh, these are my values, I'm going to stay on it. And you see carnal things happening around you in your place of work, and then you're able to say, no, this is not my belief, I don't subscribe to this. So it's not to say that that's going to be very easy, but then know where the line is for you. Yes, set the boundary. Don't let the secular space set that boundary for you, because what that does is, when you give the power to the secular space to set the boundaries for you, you're going to accept whatever they bring to your table.
True.
Which is not supposed to be so. It's not supposed to be so. You're supposed to say, no, I'm not, this is not, I don't subscribe to this. Once you see that, okay, this is getting out of hand, you carry your bag and leave. So that you don't even start getting any temptation of joining them to do carnal things that you don't subscribe to. So for me, it's just know your boundaries. Okay, I like to drink, and the Bible has not told us not to drink. However, we should not be drunk with wine. So know your limits. You've had a bottle of wine, you've had a glass of wine, and you know that once I go past this one, it can send me somewhere I cannot understand or explain. So exactly, just draw that line and know that once you're done with that glass of wine, it's time to leave, because you may not be able to control what can happen next. So it's like that's how, like, I'm able to manage the tension between both.
Yeah, that's very, very nice. So setting boundaries, a very good way to control the tension between your spirituality and the casual and the secular space. So Precious, can you just two lines, three lines, just give us something that you can do as an individual to navigate the tension?
Oh, okay. So I think since we all understand that, or I will not assume that we all understand that spirituality is Christ. As Christians, we would describe spirituality as being Christ-centered. And so you will not have to now draw that line, because the major difference between we as Christians is our faith. And the faith now states some things as carnal that we shouldn't do. And some of these things have been imbibed into the secular world that people now assume or believe to be normal.
Yeah.
That's why we still have to go back to studying the scriptures and knowing where that boundary is. Because I agree with you that we should set boundaries, but then our boundaries should now be based on what Christ has said, on what the Bible backs up. Yeah. So you can now say, okay, this is what my faith says, and this is my belief. These are my values. The secular world is saying this. I do not argue with them. I would party with them, but I will not cross that boundary.
Yeah.
Say, for example, you gave example of drinking and all of that. This does not mean you should not relate with these people that do these things, but then you should be able to hold your own value and say, this is who I am. This is what I represent, even here.
Yeah.
I think our day-to-day activity should eventually reflect Christ. Yeah. So regardless of where you are,
Yeah.
you understand your own values and you are able to now you're not hiding your values. You should be
Yeah.
vocal about it. Let people know that this is what I stand for,
Exactly.
even in the secular world. That way people will respect you and what you stand for. So if say for example, I have friends and then we go out together, this my friends know that this is what I stand for. They would not even think to invite me to places that they know that
Yeah, you
I
will.
cannot be because of my values and because of my beliefs. So I think that is how to for me, I would say that is how to create that balance. Knowing your values, standing by it, like you said, knowing setting the boundaries, and then now letting the people that you relate to know that these are the things that I stand for. These are the things I
Yeah.
can take. This is what is within, should I call it threshold
Yeah.
of how much I can be with you.
Yeah. I mean, like, that's what you just said is so relatable. When so at a point in my life, I said, "Oh, I'm not drinking," not because I wasn't old enough to drink if I wanted to, but because it was just my belief at that time that I didn't want to drink. So when we go out, and this thing that they tend to stereotype creatives that, oh, you're creative, you're an actor, you're this, oh, why don't you drink? Why don't you smoke? Why don't you this? I'm like, that does not mean I should do these things because it's become like a normalcy or something that has just somehow been ascribed to people in the creative space. I stand by this, and that's how I am. I'm not that creative who is just going with the wave of everything that is happening in the creative space. So like it was a real tension. Like we'll go out and they're like, why are you drinking yogurt? Every other person like my go-to drinks, yogurt or juice.
I mean,
Like
it's
you
better
can
to be safe.
yeah, you cannot catch me. Like I would drink up all the juice at the party. Like before you can find juice to now dilute your own drink, I've drank all the juice. So they're like, "Why you always drinking juice?" I said, "That's what I prefer, and that's what I'm standing by, and that's what works for me." So like, I don't try to fit into the crowd so that they'll think, you are cool. You're cool because you stand for something and you're not letting people sway you from that belief.
I mean, I think being cool is also should interpret as being respected.
Exactly.
People should know that this is what you stand for and this is what you represent.
If not, people will just throw anything at you.
I mean,
very, very interesting. See, that's why I love this kind of topic, because it exposes your mind. It brings you to a level that you've not understood before. So, another question before we round up this episode. I wrote down a question, but I'm going to rephrase it now for my guest. So, as we all know, there are some spiritual, or let's say gospel artists that has collaborated in time past with, should I say, secular, or well, those people are not really secular. They have gone further than secular. Those people are like, let me say, carnal singers, because what we hear in their song is vulgar. How they dress, some of them is not what we see in, like, or what we admit in the spiritual or in churches and all. So
the content of their music or whatever is carnal.
Exactly. So let's give example of Tasha Cobbs and Nicki Minaj. We give example of Craig Franklin and Kendrick Lamar. So I'm not going to tell you to say something about them. Now I know you too, you're a singer, a secular singer, and you're also a spiritual person. So if the opportunity to sing with someone that says vulgar languages in their lyrics, and someone that we all know the lifestyle is not a Christian lifestyle, would you take the opportunity to sing with the person, to collaborate with the person?
One thing about me is I don't I don't I set the pace. I set the standards, what is acceptable in my career. I don't let people, like I said, set the standard for me and tell me what is acceptable.
Yep.
So for me, if I know the kind of message I'm trying to pass across with my music, with my career in its entirety, and if a person's or an artist's values and beliefs and lifestyle does not match mine,
Yep.
unfortunately for me, no matter the amount of streams and revenue is going to bring to my table, unfortunately, I will not be able to do it.
Okay.
I mean, would I, in my fleshly mind, want to do it? Of course,
yes.
but because of the certain values that I have as a
Believer.
Christian and as a
Yeah.
believer, I won't be able to do it because I know that putting myself in that space would affect, because I know that people look up to me.
Yep.
First of
Exactly.
all, and not even just because they look up to me, because God is looking at me and He has expectations of
For
me.
you,
So
yeah.
there's just some certain things I will not bring myself to doing just because of the fame or the money or the things that it can bring for me. It's just because, to be honest, I won't do it. I won't do it. So that's the thing. For me, I like to make things that I like to make art that everyone can appreciate, and even the people in the Christian folk can still sit down and relate, and people in the secular space can still
also
sit down and relate to it. So if I'm making something that my family, first of all, that is the Christian folk, are
Yeah,
not going to
to-
be able to
listen
digest.
to digest and
What
Why-
am
what
I
are you
doing?
not
What
doing
am
it
I
for?
doing it for again? So it's like, no, it would be really hard to find me doing that.
But I kind of had a question that was born out of your response.
Okay.
So, say for example, it's an artist that does the secular slash carnal kind of music,
Okay.
and then they're now saying, okay, for you, because I know your values, we should do a song that is purely secular. We can even bring in spirituality into it, and then try to make it something that you can work with. What would be what will your response be like?
If I understand you well, you mean
So they're saying you should meet in the middle. You should meet in between. I don't want to say unclean, but I'm naturally carnal. Like everybody knows me to be carnal. But I want to do something with you.
And
Okay.
And you are saying you don't want to do carnal. Can we do purely secular together? And everybody knows that it is clearly secular.
when we can just simply go to the people that match my value. Well, I don't have to put you through that stress because you already stand for something.
Exactly.
Remain
Yeah,
on what you stand
Remain
for.
on
I
what
don't
you
have to
stand
come
for.
and start meet me somewhere. Let
So
me
no
meet you
compromise.
somewhere.
Next.
I don't. Yes. I will just rather meet with somebody who we already share the same kind of beliefs and values. Yeah. Like, let's not stress each other out.
We have to go now, but before we go, I would like to tell you guys that Ruby here, she's an amazing artist. She has dropped a song, Keep Me Down, and I should not exaggerate, I've listened to it like 500 times. If she should see 1,000 streams, 5,000 streams on our page, just know that like 2,000 is coming from 2,000 is coming from only me. I stream everywhere, in the house, in the car when I'm going, because the lyrics to that song is wonderful, very, very, very relatable. When you listen to it, it's something that gives you that driving state. And I admire you for putting out such a masterpiece. We thank you. So you can listen to our songs everywhere on any streaming platform. Just go there. She's now popular. Just type Ru, keep me down. If before you even type the keep me down, just type Ru, RUU. You see her there. So very, very amazing person. Thank you. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence. I know it's very hard to see someone like you. In this week alone, I've seen her in different places where she has gone to perform, do interviews and all. We know that is the celebrity lifestyle. I'll get there one day. So we're about to go now, and you can listen to this podcast on our YouTube channel, Life Xpression Podcast. You can check out the audio on Spotify, and we'll put all the links down below on where you can check us out. Please, please, please like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. Please do it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. Also, comment what you feel maybe we said wrong, or what you feel is right. We have our own different beliefs. So just let us know. And maybe in our next or our forthcoming episode, we'll treat them. Thank you so much. I remain Praise. Peace out.